April 2nd. This one we're going to call, this one's about remote work hurting innovations. An article came out from the new incoming CEO of Amazon talking about remote work hurting innovations. So we're going to talk about this one a little bit. Let me pull this up. Here's the article right. Oh, that's a horrible pulling this up. But yeah, so remote work hurting innovation. So let me start with a couple points on this one. So number one, I think Amazon is one of the most innovative organizations on the planet. So I won't argue with this from an Amazon perspective. They were designed from the ground up to be innovative. They got practices in place that cause and allow for innovation and invention. They, things like single-threaded teams, where teams have a specific focus. And I'm doing this from, reading the book, working backwards. So, I would never argue. Well, I can argue, but not arguing with the ways that Amazon operates. So now let's talk about remote work and the way that it's actually getting done in most places. It's Zoom calls, right? It's Zoom calls. It's scheduled for a particular period of time. There's a lot of overhead that goes into every one of those single calls, and they deaden the brain. That's an obvious way, and you cannot, or it's much more challenging to be able to create innovation over Zoom, which I agree with 100%. But here's what goes, and so an in-person meeting and working together is better than a meeting over Zoom. Plus, you have the opportunities for those, oh, my hands are freezing here. You have the opportunities for those water cooler chats, and that's where the innovation moment happens and the serendipity happens. Here's the problem. Most of those conversations that aren't structured conversations, they go and they get lost in the ether, and they get lost into the air. So I discovered about 7 years ago, I didn't discover it, but started using asynchronous audio 7 years ago when I first discovered Voxer. And that is sort of the happy medium for me, for being able to riff with people asynchronously on our schedules. And here's, I'll create a message, somebody will start to riff on that and start to create another message, and it occurs like a conversation. And the beautiful thing is that it's actually captured in the moment. So right now, I'm not doing this on using Voxer anymore. I use it a little bit, but I'm using Yak more for it. So the great unlock for remote work and being able to create innovation is asynchronous audio, because what it allows you to do, it allows you to have those riff type conversations, but you can have a lot more of them. The problem with in person, it's great, but you have to be, this is actually why it makes sense for Amazon a lot more than some of the other companies I was thinking about, is you probably work more closely with your teams, right? You are in geographical proximity to your teams, so you are empowered to take those riffs and then move them on to something else. But for most other companies, you're not there directly. Your team is not necessarily at the water cooler working with you directly in the moment. So, yes, on a one-for-one basis, the water cooler chats, the in-person stuff is better. But if you introduce the asynchronous audio and allowing people to create messages whenever they want and respond wherever they ever want, you get that riff type experience, and you have it captured live in the moment. All right, hands are freezing here. I'm going to put this one to an end. Horrible the way that this article structure. Got to figure out how to get better images in here, but I'll leave that one here for right now. Have an amazing day.